how the self-concept of the human being called Marco Vinicio emerged. This journey will take us through immensely important events in Marco's life that will help explain who he knows he is. When Marco was about 2-3 years old, he had his first series of memories he can recall. That's when he realized for the first time that somehow that he existed, and he remembers he wanted to be older, like the older kids, but he didn't give much thought to what this existence was. He just was. This is the farthest moment in time when Marco can track back his essence, his beingness. Around 4 years old, Marco recalls memories of wanting to own things and people, and suffered whenever he couldn't, which relates to his first romantic love, his first cute little girlfriend. At 8 years old, Marco recalls feeling the constraints that the world imposed on him. I want to be someone, but society, in the shape of teachers, parents, does not let me, Marco felt. By 9, Marco will start to be aware of his internal dialogue very strongly. He had felt it before, but now it was really strong. He thinks this was triggered by stressful new circumstances like changing school. This internal dialogue came with an enhanced sense of self, of being alive, of being present, and also with a powerful perception of the mind. Marco remembers that he has always had a very strong internal dialogue, but never questioned what that was. He always took it for granted, that his mind or internal dialogue was him. Later on, spirituality shed light on how Marco has a mind, has an internal dialogue, but he is in essence not that. But we will come back to this. During junior high school, Marco's personality kept on being explored. Books, history, figuring out how to have romantic relationships, being popular, internal conflicts such as realizing he could not fake liking skateboards, even though all his friends did, etc. During his senior high school years, Marco's outlook on life changed dramatically. He was driven by 2 questions. How can one help our planet and inhabitants the most? And is there a meaning to life? And if so, what is it? While embarked into self-discovery, Marco played with the Cartian inquiry spontaneously, though influenced most probably, and realized that he was. And later on, he also realized that there was a him and everything else. While studying philosophy, he also studied what science, religion, and spirituality had to say about those extremely important questions for him, which led him to leave his home country and embark on a journey that will lead him to exact opposite time zones, Thailand and India. From 19 to 23 years old, he lived abroad, immersed entirely into self-discovery and spirituality. Nothing else mattered to young Marco. His sense of self became a tremendously important part of his life. Little that he knew, he has always been of some importance. Nowadays, Marco tries to practice what he learned and keeps on going deeper and deeper into his own consciousness through practice, love, and resting as awareness. What am I? What is the meaning of life? These questions have fascinated me from an early age, and even though they're different questions, they both speak to the most fundamental existential matters, and they are interrelated, since if I am just a product of my brain and of random evolutionary processes, then there cannot be a meaning to life. Implying that there is an ultimate meaning speaks to the fact that we are meaningful. That's what I have discovered by immersing myself into spirituality, that I am, that I exist. Implying that we are the products of random and haphazard processes that created the Big Bang that randomly became galaxies, stars, planets, and in the same way, material matter on this planet Earth randomly organized itself to create bacteria, viruses, multicellular organisms, who then went to create animals and then human beings. And because of evolutionary hidden processes, science Science cannot explain them as of now. Consciousness emerged. Is science telling us that my self-awareness, our self-awareness, the fact that I know that I exist, is all a kind of big, lucky event? The numbers don't really add up. How is this magical thing, consciousness, this that I am, can be the result of the Big Bang alone? Nonsense, I say. There must be a designer, an architect, who set the plan for all of this to happen. The hypothetical idea that hundreds of chimpanzees gathered together for millennia can come up randomly with the entire Shakespearean collection, to me is just that, a hypothesis, a wild hypothesis. Nevertheless, I am. That's all I can say right now, that I am. As Claude Lamartine wisely recurs to etymologies, I'll do the same. Object and subject, words, exuding with meaning and wisdom, they tie the knot between consciousness and spirituality beautifully. Subject roughly translates as behind throwing. That thing, that's something that throws. An object roughly translates as impeding throwing. That's it. The whole of spiritual theory in two concepts. I, with capital I, the subject as I as consciousness, throw myself to everywhere and everything. But I am stopped. Stopped by who? Stopped by what? Stopped by objects who stop my throwing myself. And that is exactly what an enlightened mystical experience, a union mystica, helps us transcend. That I am everywhere, that I am everything, that I not only exist inside of my little body, but everywhere. Of that, I can only speak in theory. I have only had glimpses of what the great mystics have experienced. I am. That's all I can say right now. I am.